Alright, I'm going to keep this video brief today, but I'm going to give some praise to NY1. I know I'm going to be doing that, and I know this really wasn't the lead story on the front page of NY1's website, but I'm going to give them some credit. And why am I going to be, doing that today, you may be wondering. Well, they actually spent 2 minutes talking about an awful shooting that happened in the Bronx, and the suspect who was arrested, guess what? You can blame Andrew Cuomo for this incident because the bail reform law had a lot to do with it. It definitely did, and I'm kind of annoyed that AM New York didn't even have an article on their website, but NY1 did. And again, I'll show you right here. I'll move this to the right so you can see how long the video was. And it says right here, 2 minutes, 13 seconds. So I'm going to read this article from the website on Spectrum News NY1. Okay, here's what it says. A man with a history of gun charges has been arrested in the shooting of a 13-year-old boy who was headed to school in the Bronx yesterday morning, according to the NYPD. Police say the teen was walking on East 223rd Street near Bronxwood Avenue in the Wakefield section of the Bronx at around 7:30 a.m. on Tuesday, November 23rd, when he was shot in the neck. Good news is, the boy was taken to a local hospital nearby and is expected to recover. While searching for the scene for ballistics, police say they observed an individual who put something down on the ground and picked it up. Police said an officer then gave a verbal command to that individual to drop the item. Commanding Officer Kenneth Flower at a news conference said, as the officers approached that individual, he tried to conceal the item in his waistband. The officers then gave further instructions to the individual to drop the object to the ground. The officer moved in and then took the individual into custody. So, really glad the 47th precinct got involved as soon as possible, and especially the commanding officer of the 47th. I will say he sounded pretty upset at the press conference. And listen, I'm going to say this about Officer Lahr. He has every right to be upset. He was very vocal. It looked like he was going to break down. And I can't blame him. This is what's going on with bail reform. And not that many people realize that, again, this is an epidemic that's going to become a pandemic. It's starting to become that way all over the 5 boroughs, it seems. It's not just a Bronx issue. And I know a lot of the crime's been getting ignored in the Bronx. And technically the Bronx is normally the worst area of crime in the whole city. But, look what Commissioner Dermot Shea said. And first things first, Eric Adams needs to get rid of this guy. This guy, for a police commissioner, how in the world can you have a police commissioner who has no guts, no courage? Dermot Shea, I really hope Mayor Adams does not keep you on board. Because, why can't we have someone in Nassau County like Pat Ryder? I'm very glad that Bruce Blakeman's keeping him on board. It sounds like a lot of good changes are happening for Nassau County next year. But as far as the city, we're becoming a big mess. We really are. So, apparently, this guy was out on a pending 2019 issue. Which, remember, the bail reform law began on January 1st, almost 2 years ago. 2 years ago. Which was approved by then Governor Andrew Cuomo. So now you see why Lee Zeldin and Andrew Giuliani are going to campaign hard on the bail reform issue. Remember how in Virginia, they were worried about critical race theory. Don't teach our children division. Well, what's going to divide us is this whole bail reform problem. Okay? And, it's going to be the big issue in the governor's race next year. I really think it will. It's becoming that way. It's becoming that way. And it's not just the city. Okay, I'm getting intel that the bail reform laws are even affecting people in upstate New York. So, don't say how I know this information. I just know this information very well. So, as far as this suspect, the individual was a 36-year-old named Hubert Wiggs, was on parole for firearm and illegal drug convictions in 2010. Police said, while on patrol for the 2010 gun charge, he was arrested again in 2019 for carrying a firearm, indicted, and later posted bail. He's charged with attempted murder, assault, criminal possession of a weapon, menacing, and endangerment. So, I would assume the Bronx District Attorney is going to pursue serious charges. I hope she does, because this is, something very serious. Very serious. Okay, a 13-year-old boy just minding his own business. And then all of a sudden, just 2 days before Thanksgiving.
Survived.
We have a 13-year-old
Here we
boy
go.
shot in the neck, and for the grace of God, he's alive here today.
The shot frightening residents here.
I came back around 9. I saw a lot of cops here, and then I just realized what happened. It was shocking, right? As a parent.
This father was dropping his...
Yeah, I'm trying to find the part where the commanding officer was speaking.
I don't really have...
According to the commanding officer
Here we go.
of the NYPD's Patrol Bureau Bronx, after police arrived, Wiggs tried to hide the 6-shot revolver in his waistband and dropped it on the ground under officer's command. According to police, Wiggs is on parole for a firearm and illegal drug conviction in 2010. In 2019, he was arrested and indicted.
And he bails out.
Firearm, a case that is still...
Here it is, I found
And
it.
he bails out. So this individual today is on the street while on parole, while for a firearm, while out on bail on another firearm, and today he's walking around the Bronx with the firearm.
Wiggs...
I would say this right now, if I were the mayor-elect, after watching this press conference, I would seriously vet Kenneth Flard. I would seriously vet Kenneth Flard. Oh, and by the way, you might as well pick up a copy of AM New York or read today's virtual article, because here's something alarming. I know I'm going to go off topic, but I was reading AM New York today, and I was very disappointed to read. I'm going to give Pat Ryder. Pat Ryder's the guy in Nassau. No, who is the guy from the PBA? Lynch. That's the guy. Yeah, Pat Lynch. Look at this. This was in AM New York today. This is on page 5. Look at this. Look how disturbing this is. Read this. Cops earn $85,000 a year. This is ridiculous. You know why Nassau County got a pay raise? Because Laura Curran was in her heated race with Bruce Blakeman. So she had to give the funding to her police department. She thought she was going to easily win re-election because of that. Nope. Look at Suffolk. Out of all these units, you can go to Suffolk County and make a lot more money. And then look at this. This is what Pat Lynch took out today. Again, this is in today's AM New York. You can read this for yourself. Pat Lynch today said, cops patrolling the 5 boroughs don't need to look for better paying policing jobs. They are just a few miles away. Instead of attracting diverse, talented police recruits, New York City is exporting them. And look at this. An MTA police officer makes more money than a cop would make in the 5 boroughs. I'm going to say this. I'm really going to say this. But when Vicky Palladino called out Bill de Blasio 4 years ago, you can watch the video for yourself. She was right. She was 100% right, Councilwoman Palladino. And I'm going to urge her and all the other Republicans in the council, when they take office in January, They have to tell Mayor Adams, you need to fund the police, and you need to give the cops a pay raise. I'm very glad Pat Lynch is being vocal about this. And again, I know me and him don't see eye to eye on everything, but this is one of those rare issues that me and Pat Lynch completely agree on. And I know I wasn't supposed to make this video long enough, but I'm going to wrap it up by showing you some urgent stuff that needs to be discussed in Queens. So let's get to this one. Okay, gonna find it right now. Find it right here. Here it is. So I found this out from one of my viewers, Joy Jung. Thank you very much for making me aware of this. So here we go. Robberies on the rise in Bayside after burglaries. Police reported rising robberies in the Bayside vicinity after burglaries. On November 13th at 2 p.m., the incident reported a shoplifting turned into a robbery at the T-Mobile location on Northern Boulevard and 216th Street. On November 10th around midnight, a female victim was robbed on 217th Street and 47th Avenue. On November 8th and 9th, 3 victims were robbed on Springfield Boulevard between 48th and 46th Avenue. Wow, so a robbery happened right by Cardozo. And literally not too far from Queensboro Community College. November 7th, around 9 a.m., a female victim was robbed on 48th Avenue and 207th Street. November 5th, early morning, around 5 a.m., a victim was robbed after following home. This was on 204th Street and 46th Avenue. So far, no arrest, ongoing investigation. So, obviously, New York 1's going to ignore that. Well, that's a given. Because, again, you just don't matter in Queens. You really don't. I mean, I normally make these videos longer, but again, I have a special video I want to post later tonight. I will post it later tonight. So let me just find out. Yeah, this is where I was looking. Okay, here we go. Robbery in Flushing. Police reported a suspect passed a note at the Apple Bank at Casino Boulevard and 43rd Avenue around 10 a.m. The suspect took off for $200. The suspect was so upset and sad over the robbery result, he came back to rob another one after resting and planning. This time it was the Queens County Savings Bank, which had been victim of robberies in the past around 4:30 p.m. This bank was located at 108th Street and 51st Avenue in Corona. The suspect took off with more cash, but undetermined. Crime Stoppers said later on the suspect is a male, white, 6 feet tall, unknown weight, 50 to 60 years old. A witness stated he took off in a black Lincoln with TLC plates. Ongoing investigation. So, again, you are likely not going to hear this on New York 1. So, just bringing that up. But again, I'm going to say this. I'm glad New York 1 spent 2 minutes talking about what happened in the Bronx. Because, again, this was a very serious story. And, right now, we have to stand with our police. Because, I'm going to say this. Today, with the balloon inflation, the NYPD did a terrific job today organizing the balloon inflation viewing. Everything was well organized. All the police I met today were extremely kind to me. They even told me that my bag I had wasn't large enough, so I made the criteria, which was very good. And, we really do have to support our police. We really do, because they're becoming criticized every day for all the wrong reasons. And, with law and order, we really need that now. We need it more than ever. And, it's going to be, again, a very big issue in the governor's race next year with the GOP nomination. The only thing now, there is just so much divide with Lee Zeldin and Andrew Giuliani that it's just going to be more stories coming out like this in the next couple of months. The crime's just going to increase now the holidays coming up. Now that more people are getting vaccinated, they're getting their boosters. we're trying to reclaim our pre-pandemic lives. I mean, I certainly feel like mine's gone back to normal in a sense. I'm only 2 weeks out from my booster, and I'm going to keep doing these videos. And I just did want to do it on Thanksgiving tomorrow. Not when I want to enjoy my meal with my parents tomorrow. And especially because this weekend for me is special because the first night of Hanukkah is on Sunday. So I'm going to finish this video up right now. I've made my points very clear. And, I'm just still disgruntled with what's going on. And we only have one more month of Bill de Blasio left. So the long nightmare with him will be over. Just got to get through one more month. And then de Blasio enjoys his retirement in Park Slope. Unless, for whatever reason, he's going to run for governor. Which, knowing how crazy Warren Wilhelm Jr. has gone before, he could go again, so we'll just have to wait and see. So thank you all very much for watching. Try to enjoy your Thanksgiving. Stay safe out there. And more importantly, if you see something, say something. Don't be silent. Everyone's story deserves to be heard. So, with that being all said, thank you all for watching, and until the next one, please take care.